and welcome to Episode 9 of the Dolphin Pod on CSI Sportsnet. My name is Joe Foreman, and I will be hosting the show solo today for the latest episode of the official CSI Athletics podcast. A lot to get to on this week's episode, so you won't be hearing too much from me today. We have a stacked lineup coming up on the Dolphin Pod, which includes conversations with 5 members of the CSI men's basketball team, their head coach, TJ Tibbs, and Chris Granozio of D2EastHoops.org. However, before we get to all of that, let's take a look at what's been happening around CSI Athletics ahead of this past weekend's Tournament of Heroes and Women's Basketball Conference Challenge. The men's and women's soccer regular season wrapped up about 3 weeks ago with a huge regular season finale at Dolphin Soccer Park. Needing a win and some help to make the playoffs, CSI women's soccer fell to the Malloy University Lions in the team's season finale. As for the men, they needed a win and a bit less help to make the playoffs heading into their matchup with Malloy. In the opening minutes, it was Miguel Espinoza who gave CSI the 1-0 lead, a lead that the Dolphins held the rest of the way. This set up a number 3 seed versus number 6 seed matchup with CUNY rival Queens College on the road in Flushing, where the two teams had to contend with some very cold weather. Early in the first half, a controversial red card put CSI down a man, and the Knights were quick to capitalize. A Queens goal just moments later put the Knights ahead 1-0, but that lead was short-lived. After a foul called against Queens in the box, a Dolphins penalty kick by Miguel Espinoza leveled the score at 1. That 1-1 score stood until the closing seconds when CSI's season came to a heartbreaking end on a game-winning goal by Leo Pinto of the Knights. Despite the loss, the Dolphins showed off their resilience in the team's most memorable performance of the season, and they hope that the foundation has been set for a deeper postseason run in 2024. Just 1 week before the soccer regular season ended, another program participated in their conference championship as CSI Cross Country participated in the ECC championship meet on October 21st. 5 Dolphins posted their season best times in the women's 5K and men's 8K at the championship meet as the men placed 5th and the women placed 8th. This comes after a season which saw several Dolphins recognized by the conference with weekly honors, including both Rookie of the Week and Runner of the Week awards. The meet concludes the schedule ahead of NCAA regionals for the team in its first season under new head coach Akil St. Louis. The team will begin the indoor track and field season in the coming weeks and will look to build upon a record-setting 2022-2023 indoor campaign. As 2 seasons came to an end, another program was just getting their season started last month. CSI Swimming and Diving opened their season back on October 14th, scoring 2 wins in their first meet of the season. The following week, the Dolphins hosted their first Northeast 10 meet against Adelphi University, and the Dolphins have made quite the impression in their first season with their new conference. Several CSI swimmers and divers have appeared in the NE10 weekly report as conference award winners, highlighted by 3 Dolphins receiving conference recognition in the 3rd week of the season. The program has seen some new records set this year as well by a pair of NE10 award winners in diver Jordan Swanson and rookie swimmer Edna Melendez. The Dolphins will also return to the pool this weekend for the 2nd annual CSI Invite on Friday and Saturday. Both days of that meet will be streamed live on CSI Sportsnet. Lastly, it was a busy marathon Sunday for CSI Athletics as student-athletes, coaches, and administrators traveled to Brooklyn bright and early as part of a volunteer effort at the New York City Marathon. Dolphins were positioned at water stations along the course, affording them the opportunity to interact with some of the thousands of runners participating in the marathon. Director of Athletics and Recreation Chase Licata called it a humbling experience, and the outing not only helped to bring the department together, but it also served to further the goal of giving back to the community as a Division II athletics program. That's all for the latest news around CSI Athletics before this past weekend's Tournament of Heroes and Conference Challenge. Before we recap the action from a packed weekend slate, I will turn it over to my CSI Sportsnet colleague, Nick Durst, who got the chance to speak with the men's basketball team and their head coach, TJ Tibbs. First up, Messiah Mallory.
Nick Durst here for CSI Sportsnet with Messiah Mallory, Messiah, your junior year already, your third season with the team. Can you believe it?
I can. It's going really fast, really flying by.
All right, so your freshman year, you were incredible, multi-time ECC Rookie of the Week. Your sophomore year, we then have JJ, who is a multi-time ECC Rookie of the Week. Which freshman could we be looking out for this year to be a multi-time ECC Rookie of the Week?
Aaron Goldstein and Michael.
All right, so looking forward to seeing them there. So last year, your game kind of changed from the first season. You were getting double teamed, triple teamed a lot. Your assist numbers went up. So this off season, what were you specifically working on to get ready for the season?
I definitely worked on delivering passes better so I could handle the double teams better, understanding the game more also, being in spots where it's harder to get double teamed, my perimeter game a lot.
Yeah.
That's about it, really.
Yeah, so last year, you shot the three. When you shot it, it went in. Interviewed Coach Tibbs a few times at halftime, and he said he needs more from that. He needs a lot more threes for you. So what could we expect here this season for you with three-pointers?
Exactly what you just said, a lot more.
All right. So this season, what's your expectations here? What are you forecasting here for this team and the camaraderie that you guys are building?
I'm expecting the championship, and our team is already really close. This is like the first year where we're kind of building on something, because last year we went from Coach Nick to Coach Tibbs, so it's kind of like we were all freshmen, we were all new. This year we have experience, where we have vets, we have older guys, so you can just feel the difference.
All right, high expectations here in the tank. Thank you for your time, Messiah. Best of luck this season.
From an anchor of CSI's interior defense to arguably the team's most prolific outside shooter, Nick is joined by Bryce Waterman.
Nick Durst here for CSI Sportsnet, joined by Bryce Waterman. Bryce, you're a graduate student now. This is your last season.
Yep.
How's it feel?
Feels good, kind of crazy, honestly. It's been a long journey. Time does fly. They say it goes quick, and it really does.
A lot of young guys on the roster this year, a lot of new players.
Mm-hmm.
You're the vet here. How do you keep them in check?
Just being hard on them, but also just going back and patting them on the back after, letting them know they're doing a good job. We're all working really, really hard, and they're picking up on it. But we got to just do it even more intense each time. So it's going well, though. It's going well so far.
All right. So in the off season, this summer, of course, you're home, you're away.
Mm-hmm.
What was your routine like to stay game ready?
Well, so I had a job this summer in Jersey, so I was doing that. But then after, I would go get a lift in and some running stuff. I actually was up in Fort Lee, so I was working out with Lou a lot. We just kept each other in game shape, trying to go as hard as we possibly could. So it was a good summer.
Yeah, Lou, he's always in the gym, posts on Instagram. You see that a lot, so a lot to keep up with there.
Yeah.
What are your expectations for this team this year?
I think we're going to be really good, honestly. I think we got to harp on our identity, which is going to be defense this year, which it always is. But I think if we defend and we do what we're supposed to do, we have a great leader in Coach Tibbs, and I think we'll make some noise this year.
All right, thanks a lot, Bryce. Best of luck this season.
Appreciate it.
If there's one person on this Dolphins roster who believes they can shoot right with Bryce Waterman, he's the man joining Nick right now. It's junior Luis Armas.
Nick Durst here for CSI Sportsnet, joined by Luis Armas at this time. Lou, your junior year already. Can you believe it?
It's unbelievable, man. It was just 2020 COVID. I was at home wishing we were able to lace them up and play, man.
All right, so big season here coming in for you. You're one of the senior veteran players on this team now. What can we expect from the core group we've been seeing the last few years with you guys?
A lot more consistency. A lot of us have been playing together now a couple years, and we had a very upsetting loss last year in the playoffs. So we're definitely going to come out with a lot of fire, a lot of chips on our shoulders, just ready to go and hoop.
All right, so a lot of new players on the roster this year. What have you seen in practice that you like from the new players? Who should we keep an eye out for?
All of our new guys are very talented. Adelaide, he's a grad transfer from Pace, very hardworking, defensive-minded guard. Chris Clancy's another shooter, another splash bro on the team, if you will. Me, Bryce, and him now. Now there's three of us. Then we got point guard, AG, Aaron. Very shifty, quick, high IQ, great kid. We're all great kids. Blake, our guy all the way from Florida.
Isn't he crazy? He comes from Florida weather to New York.
It's unbelievable. I wouldn't do it, but hey, it's his life, But he's here. We're glad he's here. He's gonna work really hard, play defense for us, And then, yeah, got a really good group. Mitch from Brooklyn, St. Edmunds, has a lot to prove as well.
All right, who can we expect to make the most three-pointers this year?
I'm going to say myself, just because, you have to say that. I believe in myself. I put in plenty of time in the gym, I have to have faith in myself more than anybody.
All right, tell us about your summer routine here. What did you do to stay ready?
Summer routine, I was in the gym, every day, lifting every day. I ate with my trainer, Chris, back home. And then right after, I would have my basketball workouts with my friend Kyle. And then just pick up whenever I can with a lot of overseas guys, guys that play in the U.S. and stuff, just to keep in great shape, and just working on my fitness,
All right, best luck this season.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir,
it.
Joining the Dolphins last season, Nick's next guest made an immediate impact with the team. Nick's joined now by Jordan McAllister.
All right, Nick Durst here for CSI Sportsnet with J-Mac. Listen, man, last year you showed some great flashes. Couldn't stay on the court as much as you like. So what did you do this offseason to make yourself ready, stronger, and ready to go this season?
Just in the weight room, getting stronger, getting a lot more flexible, some yoga stuff. Just stay in a positive mindset, just have the mentality I'm going to be healthy the whole year.
All right, so how has everything been going so far for you in practice? Have you been ready to go? You've been showing that explosiveness we saw in those stints last year, and what can we expect from you on the court this season?
You can expect consistency, me to work hard, good defender, getting to the basket, getting to my spots, just encouraging my teammates and getting the job done.
All right, this season, lots of new players for you to play with. How has it been learning how all these different players' styles go? How is everything meshing together in practice so far leading up to the season opener?
The past couple of weeks have been developing more camaraderie. Adelaide Kami, veteran, coming from Pace, real good defender. Chris Clancy, knockdown shooter. The freshman, Blake, another shooter. AG, gets to his spots, real good offensive player. And Mitch, shows real good signs, 6'5" wing, athletic. They're doing good.
All right. Appreciate your time. Best luck this season.
Thank you.
During the past year on Sportsnet, we've had some big-time moments that have been paired with some big-time calls. Two people who know a thing or two about that are Nick and his next guest. Nick is joined by JJ Chestnut.
Nick Durst here for CSI Sportsnet, joined now by JJ Chestnut. JJ, excellent freshman season.
Thank you.
How happy were you with your personal performance last year?
I was really happy with myself. Proud of myself too. So, yeah.
All right, this year, big year, sophomore year. Are we expecting a big jump from you offensively and defensively?
Definitely defensively. Last year, I kind of was just thrown into the fire with injury and losing guys, and I was forced to play all game. But this year, I'm actually glad to say that I'll be able to monitor my minutes, and I think I'll be more efficient offensively and defensively, yes.
All right, so last year, of course, multi-time ECC Rookie of the Week. The awards, they just kept on coming. Which freshman should we be keeping an eye out for this year?
Ooh, I would definitely say Aaron Goldstein and Sean Hargrave down there. Yep.
All
definitely
right.
my two
So,
favorites.
of course, Joe Foreman, the ACC here, my broadcast colleague, he absolutely loved my great call in your game last year when I sang Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. What did you think about that call? Was that the most crazy thing you ever heard about yourself?
That was the perfect celebration I've ever had for myself. As soon as I seen it, I had to sing along. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. It worked perfectly. Nobody has ever sung that for me.
There we go. I think this year we'll have to do some sort of karaoke or something.
Yeah.
We'll get all the fans with Danny the
Danny the
Dolphin.
Dolphin,
He'll
yeah.
be going crazy. We'll put on a T-shirt. It'll be great. All right, this year, the team. You've been doing all the practices, coming towards the games now. What have you been liking, what you've been seeing? What are your expectations for this team moving forward here?
What I'm really liking this year is that we're focusing a lot on the little details that everyone really doesn't pay attention to. So when you're playing defense, how you turn your feet, how you open up your hips, we're paying attention to the little things that the little things that caused us to lose games last year. That's what we're really focusing on this year.
All right, JJ, best of luck this season. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Our conversations with CSI men's basketball would not be complete without getting a word with their head coach. Nick is joined now by CSI men's basketball head coach, TJ Tibbs.
Nick Durst here for CSI Sportsnet, joined at this time by men's basketball coach TJ Tibbs. TJ, You've been going through the practices now. What have you been liking, what you've been seeing from this new roster, a lot of new faces?
Yeah, just the effort. We're really focused on what we're trying to do. I mean, it's really early. I think the guys are giving tremendous effort. But I think at this part of the year, everybody's doing that. Everybody's walking out saying that we're working hard, everybody's excited. So it's going to take some while for them to gel. But like our groups usually are, they're pretty close off the court, so that helps with what we're doing on the court. And having more bodies this year, at least right now, I would knock on every available part of wood that I can, but having bodies in practice is definitely helping, especially with the teaching aspect of it. But we're going really slow with everything, but they've just been really locked in on everything that we need to do.
Every year, towards the end of the semester, so December, we always talk at halftime, and we talk about what you love to talk about, which is your team's academics. So this year, some good standouts from last year returning. Xeris led the way last year. Who could we look out for here to be a leader in the books?
I think everybody. I mean, there's a bunch of them that have goals this year to be 4.0 students. I mean, what I'm really proud of is right now we have 3 graduate students, and it's a lot more independent of a study. You're a little bit older. They've gone through it. They've all had great GPAs as undergrads, so looking for them to get it up there. The freshmen have been working really hard. You never know. I mean, I know they're going to do well, but you never know how well. And, we return, there's only 2 guys that are under 3.0 cumulative, which is, outstanding. So, and not to knock those two guys are going to be above 3.0. They are for sure. So they're working really, really hard. So I'm really proud of all of them. Our goal is to lead the ECC in men's basketball and GPA. And here, swimming has had a chokehold over it, the GPA. Women's basketball has been great, and other sports. Softball has been great. But we want to get that GPA award at the end of the year, so that is an integral focus. They're actually meeting right now academically about what's going on, so I'm glad that you asked me that.
Of course. All right, so on the court, a few key players returning now, a lot of upperclassmen, sophomore, juniors, and graduate students, seniors as well. We know what those guys are going to bring. What have you seen from them as far as their interaction with the new guys, and what new players here could we really keep a lookout for?
Well, I think for one, the older guys have been teaching the younger guys. The older guys are understanding. Last year, everybody, especially with myself coming back to the program, everything was new. Yeah, I've been coaching for a while, and I've been coaching here for a while, and even though I recruited all the guys, they were still new to me. And then with the way that we had to play last year, every game was a different game plan, so it's hard to have continuity like that, and then guys in and out the lineup. So I think guys being settled in what we have to do base-wise, schematically, and being able to have guys in the program that can help me and help the staff with other guys, with the younger guys, with some of our newcomers that are older. I mean, they're great in their experience, but they don't know what we're doing, per se. And as far as newcomers, I mean, they all have been great so far. You can pick 1 or 2 that are standing out day to day, but they've all had their ups and downs. But the 2 older newcomers, Chris Clancy and Adelaide Oyakami, the Staten Islanders that have returned home, you can just tell their experience. They both play for phenomenal programs. They both play phenomenal level of basketball. And even though they don't know what we're doing yet, they're very smart kids, and they come from winning. So I think that's what they have added, is just going about things, being in big games. I mean, we've competed against Adelaide for his 3 years that he's been there with coming from Pace. So I think that's great. And then, the freshmen, we have 5 of them. So 2 of them that were here last year, and then 3 of them that are newcomers. I think they all bring something different, but I think they all look like freshmen. So they do have days where it's like, yeah, this is the reason why they're here, and they have days where they're struggling. But they're in the gym all the time. They're working really hard. They're trying to ask questions. I'm not going to say they're asking enough questions yet, but they have a lot of great promise. And just like any CSI kid, they're very respectful. They're the people that you want to have represent the program.
All right, last question here. Tournament of Heroes, kick off the season. This is your time. Give the plea to the students, to the families, to get out here to the tank.
Yeah, everybody needs to come. I mean, we just passed September 11th a couple of days ago, and it's the most important 2 days in our program. So we need the community here. We need the students here. We play Friday night. We open up against the defending #1 seed, St. Anselm, who hosted the regional last year.
Coach has been there for a long time. He's a legend in college basketball, so it's going to be an honor to coach against a team led by him. And it's a great basketball. The women have a tournament Saturday and Sunday. We play Friday, Saturday. I mean, Stack, Southern New Hampshire, and St. Anselm, all three of them are perennial NCAA tournament teams, and they were all in the tournament last year. So Stack has won the ECC for the last, seems like, 37 years. So it's just going to be two great games of basketball on Friday, two great games of basketball on Saturday, as well as the women. You can't forget about that. I mean, the women are, I love the way their program is going with, they've been in the gym all the time, and Coach Sarcone does a great job. So we need everybody. I tell everybody, we need it to look like Thanksgiving Eve, Curtis Peters here, but everybody for one side. So we'll do our part to make sure that we put on a good show, but we need everybody there.
All right, very well said. Thanks for your time, Coach, and best of luck this season.
Wait, real quick. Shout out to you, new dad.
Yes.
New dad, right? And just want to make sure that people know that. This guy's out there has got a newborn at home, so if you see some bags under his eyes this year, the baby is winning. It's baby 1 and Nick 0. So congratulations, my man. I appreciate
Thank you very much.
Spending time here with us this season, away from your newborn, and I hope everything's well at home.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
A special thank you to Nick Durst for coming in and conducting all of these interviews with our men's basketball team as part of our 2023-2024 season preview and as a special addition to this episode of the Dolphin Pod. However, Nick's work wasn't done just yet, as he joined me for a conversation with Chris Granozio of D2EastHoops.org at this past weekend's CSI Tournament of Heroes. Chris Granozio of D2EastHoops.org joins us, and this segment will also air as part of our latest episode of the Dolphin Pod, which will chronicle the entire weekend here at the Tournament of Heroes. Chris, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Joe, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here again at the Tank.
And we're happy to have you. Let's talk a bit about your background and what you do with D2EastHoops.org.
Well, I started out being a Lemoyne basketball fan. They're also Dolphins, by the way. Division II in Central New York for a long time until this year. And started going to games in my freshman year of 1982 and said, hey, D2 is pretty good basketball. And then starting in the late 90s, I was already having a professional life here in New York, and I decided to go to a lot of games. And I started sending out what was then an email blast to a bunch of coaches, players, families, and it became so popular. Everybody wanted to be on this list. Even referees were on the list, and just describing everything that happened in all the games from the previous night, standings, leaders, schedule. And then I had a friend who was interested in the women's side who was in Boston, and he did all of the women's, and we decided to put it together after much urging by fans to put it on a website, and that's what we did, and we've been doing on the website for about, I think, 8 years now.
That's awesome. And something that we've always enjoyed, Nick and I can both speak to this. We're big broadcasting fans. We love calling the games, and our previous sports information director, you might know him, David Pizzuto, who was here for quite some time. Yep. No doubt a future Hall of Famer. The three of us formed a broadcasting network not too long ago. We go around the region and broadcast a lot of games. Great. So we both get to do what we enjoy throughout the region, but you're here at the Tournament of Heroes each of the last 2 years, probably much further back than that, though I've been the point of contact the last 2 years. What brings you to this event every single season? What makes it special?
Well, first of all, it's close. I live in Manhattan, so it's convenient. Number two, it is fitted into my schedule. Lemoyne played last night at Villanova, so I didn't have a conflict this weekend. Number three, great tournament because TJ does a great job of bringing in awesome teams.
Yeah.
A lot of schools will just, a lot of programs will say, it's an early season tournament. Let's get some cupcakes on the schedule, get some easy wins. But he's 0-5 all time in this home tournament as a Division II head coach. I know he wasn't the head coach officially 2 years ago, but right now I love what he does to build the program. He's saying, look, guys, these are the teams and the programs we want to aspire to being. We want to be in their shoes in a couple of years, and he's building up to that. I know this first half wasn't indicative of the type of team that he wants to build, but he's got pieces. He knows what he's doing. He's in a conference where they can jump up to the top, right next to Damon and St. Thomas Aquinas. I think he's got an idea what he's doing. And so, yes, this tournament, 3 NCAA teams from last year in a November tournament, you'd never see that.
Right, to start the season and back-to-back days they're playing, so obviously a lot of fatigue going on. Playing 2 games within less than 24 hours, not going to happen again the rest of the season. Question for you here. Tell me something you love about Staten Island.
About what?
Staten Island.
Staten Island. Oh, you mean the school or the whole all of Staten Island?
All of Staten Island, the community we got here.
He has to say the College of Staten Island now, right?
Well, yeah, for sure.
You could say the athletic communications contact for the Staten Island.
Well, you're doing a great job promoting yourself, so I'll let you do it. But no, I love coming here. I've always been treated. I mean, it's only been 3 years since you guys have been in Division II, but you've treated me like a king every time I've been here. Everybody's been wonderful, from Chase Licata to the SID to everyone here. I love the atmosphere, and I've been to every gym in the region. I go every year to each gym, and this is right up there near the top, if not number one in the region as far as atmosphere for a game.
Well, you spoke about the program that TJ is aspiring to build with this men's basketball team. I have a good story from a few years back.
Yeah,
I was a part of the men's basketball opening trip. They went down to Florida. They faced Nova Southeastern and Barry University. They lost that first game, I believe, by 70 points.
Yeah.
Then they traveled over to Barry, and the fans were giving TJ a hard time behind the bench during the game because, the home fans get riled up when it's a big victory for their team. And at Barry, he told us after the game was over, one day we'll be back and we'll be on the other side of this result. And we hope to see him continue to take steps in that direction. But my question to you, any great stories you've gotten from other coaches, maybe players throughout the region that might be good to share, that some behind-the-scenes things that we don't necessarily get to see on the court that you could share?
Well, that's a loaded question because I've been covering Division II college basketball for over 40 years, so I'd have to really think about that. Geez, you put me on the spot here. I got to think. There's so many great stories, many of which I can't say on the air.
That's
because
what I'm thinking.
They'll either
That's
incriminate someone or there's something off
Those
color.
are the challenges. Yeah, those are the challenges.
You know what? Let me get back to that because I got to think of all everything's a jumble
Think it
in my
over.
head.
Last question for me.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the nicest uniforms in D2?
Ooh. Well, I tell you, I've been interviewed many times. I've never heard those two questions before. So credit to you guys for coming up with the ingenuity.
That's why we are the best broadcasting team in the ECC.
We'd like to think so.
There have been some really awful uniforms over the years. Right now, and again, this is a brand new season. I've only seen a couple of teams so far. Going off last year, again, you got me for a loss. I've got to get into that frame of mind of remembering what everybody wore for uniforms.
All right, we'll narrow it down. Best in the ECC.
Okay, I'm not a fan of St. Thomas Aquinas' gold uniforms. They wore those at home. I'm not a big fan of those. Let's say I like their road uniforms. I like CSI's color scheme, and I like the home uniforms. The road ones, the light blue, right? If I remember correctly, they wear light blue.
This year it's switched up. The white they're wearing today is now the road, and they have a new black uniform that they wore last night.
Oh, okay. And I heard there was a blackout here last night, and you had a full house. So
full house.
Sorry I missed that.
The Fanatics did a great job turning out.
That's tremendous. So let's see. Roberts Wesleyan has okay uniforms. Mercy has nice uniforms. Trying to think of the other teams here. Deauville.
Deauville and Damon.
Deauville's got the best floor of any school in the region. Yeah. They've got the skyline of Buffalo emblazoned into
really?
Nice. And they have a peace bridge up on the upper beyond one of the baselines. That's the peace bridge from Canada to New York with the two flags.
Wow.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a nice gym.
Might need to give the design team here some ideas for our walkway up top, but a lot of sponsors up there, many of whom we've named throughout the weekend. So, Chris, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on. We have about 5 minutes to go until the second half. We'll let you get back to your seat at the table and take in the second half. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. And next time, I guarantee you I'll have a story for you that's ready for air.
There's a reason I left 5 minits between now and the half. You can tell me those off-color stories.
Oh, I will.
Take
Yeah.
off.
Okay.
Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Be sure to check him out and his work over at d2easthoops.org. And thank you to Chris once again for joining us for that conversation at this past weekend's Tournament of Heroes. Our conversation off headset was just as good, if not even better, than our conversation on headset. And, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the reason Chris was at CSI this weekend, the 21st annual CSI Tournament of Heroes. Each year, we gather to remember former Dolphins Terrence Aiken, Scott Davidson, and Tom Hannafin, all of whom played for the Dolphins men's basketball program and lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. The weekend sees family, friends, alumni, and fans of the game come together at the tank to honor them, and this year's tournament saw a capacity crowd filling the Sports and Recreation Center. The Dolphins lost a pair of games on the court, but this weekend was about much more than basketball. We thank everyone who helped make the weekend possible, and as always, It was our privilege to reflect upon the lives of Terrence, Scott, and Tom this year. This weekend, women's basketball also hosted the 2023 Conference Challenge, presented by Amalgamated Transit Union and Jimmy Mac's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. On Saturday, the Dolphins opened the event by knocking off the University of Bridgeport in a thriller. I couldn't be there at the game, but Nick Durst was, and he was joined by our TLC Physical Therapy Player of the Game, Dana Phelan. Dana scored 14 in both games the Dolphins played this weekend and helped lead the Dolphins past Bridgeport on Saturday.
You were knocking down the threes, tying your career high today, 14 points. It seemed like you had the utmost confidence here in the home opener. Tell us about how all the hard work in the offseason went into this game and how you capitalized on all those advantages.
During the offseason, I really just worked on my form, shooting, and my confidence is really what made me knock down those threes. I wasn't hitting in the beginning, and then I just kept shooting because last year I would stop shooting.
All right, so at the end there, huge free throws by Gia, who we didn't know if she was going to be back this year. We saw her last night in the free throw competition during the men's game. How much did that impact her free throws here today?
Oh, great.
Great. All right, last question for you. What a block, what a stuff by Amaya Jenkins at the end there. Tell us about her tenacious defense all game long.
She's so good at just being everywhere on the court. Yeah, and she can jump. So,
she can jump.
Yep, she was there.
All right, congratulations, Dana. Thank you very much. And then go and celebrate with your teammates. Nick, back to you at the desk.
Thank you.
Despite the loss to Holy Family on Sunday, it was a great weekend at the Conference Challenge. A special thank you to all of the sponsors who helped make it possible, including McDonald's, Chi Aesthetics, TLC Physical Therapy, Amalgamated Transit Union, and Jimmy Mac's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. And most of all, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Dolphin Pod. My name is Joe Foreman, and if you're watching our premiere, CSI Men's Basketball against Holy Family is coming up next. For the rest of our audience, thank you for tuning in to the official CSI Athletics podcast. We'll see you next time.